morning, we are tracking Super Tuesday results across the country and right here in Colorado.
Right, so our political analysts Alton, Dillard, and Kelly Maher join us now to break it all down. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
First, we just learned Nikki Haley dropped out of the race. Was it to be expected? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was to be expected. She never really gained any traction. Plus, the other thing that we have to just be honest about, the Republican Party isn't the party of Trump. The thing that's so ironic about that is in 2016, remember, he ran as a drain the swamp outsider. He did not run as the darling of the GOP. I had to Google to even remember who he ran against back then, and it was, you know, people like Ted Cruz and
Marco
Rubio. Yep. And so, again, like I was saying in the last segment, now America has a clear choice to make, and I'll be paying real close attention to the State of the Union address.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it is going to be really, really fascinating because this is the binary. And does anybody actually like this binary? Like, not really, but here we are, right? And this is the nature of a two-party system. I had a reporter text me in between the last segment, and he was like, hey, good job trying to say something about this snoozer of Super Tuesday. But in an era where everything is shocking, it's actually kind of nice to have something that was totally predictable, that we knew was going to happen. It was likely Nikki Haley was going to get out this morning, and then she did. So, you know what? I'll take it.
For once, you get to put your brand on autopilot for just a little bit longer.
Not even on autopilot. Just like I'm not saying something that is proven incorrect 5 minutes later, right?
True. Yeah, it's very true. Okay, now we also got to talk about this non-committed delegate vote that we saw on the Democratic ballot this year. What exactly is that? And with the way the results turned out, what do you make of that, Alton?
Well, what I make of it was essentially nice try, because they would have had to hit a 15% threshold to even be able to get to a delegate. And last time I checked the numbers that are still rolling in, as some counties may still be cleaning up some last-minute ballots, they only got to maybe 6 or 7% here. Plus, the other thing you have to remember is that movement really got going in Michigan, where there is a sizable Arab American population, and they have concerns about how Biden is handling the Israeli-Hamas war. Little different deal here in Colorado. It's more the folks on the far left who have concerns on a couple of issues, you know, economics, crime, border, the things that everyone pays attention to, and I just think that that effort was really never going to get off the ground here. So like we talked about in the last segment, I still think those people, if Biden doesn't get on his horse, are just going to sit it out, and then we may have 2016 all over again.
Yeah. But also, I think that the Israel-Hamas war is an issue here, right? Like, we see protesters at the Capitol all the time. We've seen that they tried to shut down the House. Speaker McCluskey did not allow the families of the October 7th victims to come on the House floor because she was concerned about it. And most notably, we have Representatives Elizabeth Epps and Tim Hernandez, who are really kind of pushing that issue and making that an issue at the State House. And I really think that this is kind of the existential crisis of the Democrat Party, right? Because the Republicans largely have now decided this is who we are and this is what we're doing, and it's Donald Trump. And now the question is, the Democrats have kind of this segment of people who have said, you know what, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to say no, I'm going to say that this is not the direction that we want to go. And the question is, how are they going to unify when you have something that is just so binary?
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out. We just have another minute here or so, but I do want to ask you, we know that both Trump and Biden have low approval ratings. At this point, is there anything that they can do to turn that around?
It is much harder in politics to take somebody who doesn't like you and make them like you. Like, that is a really, really, really heavy lift. It requires a lot of money, a lot of messaging, and it takes somebody who has, you know, some oomph and something to say. Unclear if that is likely to happen, but it is much, much harder to take a voter who doesn't like you and make them like you than it is to take a voter who likes you and make them not like you.
And let's go in the Wayback Machine again to 2016, because remember, that was the time where people were like sort of thinking, Well, shoot, this is almost a lesser of two evils kind of discussion. And like we've talked about in both these segments, now it comes down to the binary. You've got President Trump, former President Trump, who is like his border, for instance. Essentially, if you're brown, you're not welcome, versus Biden, who's squishy on the border. And then you've got issues like the Israel-Hamas thing, where they seem to have a little bit more alignment, but the pocketbook voters are going to be the one who decide this election. The people who were tired of paying $40 for a single bag of groceries are going to have their voices heard. And so it's going to be a matter of who really touches that vein of that everyday voter.
Yeah, well, it feels like we're pretty much set to see a matchup between Biden and Trump once again this year. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. Meanwhile, we got June to look forward to with the Colorado primary. That's when the real stuff's going to be happening.
I cannot wait for that one.
We cannot wait to
Let's
have you
go.
guys back to help break that down as well. Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate it.